truth and wisdom to all with peace and love. To bring the truth is why we have to have this understanding. This understanding of an illusion. We have, myself, before we get to me, myself, have books on the shelf responding and referencing the chakras. And so anybody in spirituality I know have heard of the chakras, own chakra books, and I wonder for you and a person's in truth wanting to understand the chakras. Now, I want us to understand that this cannot even be understood. What's non-real is non-real. So we have been fooled by the illusion of Hinduism. The chakra system, let me see and make sure my screen will stay intact, because I'll be wanting to keep it going. They have this word dated back to 1888. And so this word chakra, it dates back to 1888, which the true understanding of Hinduism was around before 1888. So as a definition defining in 1888 the word chakra as a spiritual center of power in the human body. Circle, wheel, chakra, chakra. So let's go back to the imagery at hand. Now this imagery is the image of the 7 chakra system. As you see on the screen, most people who they say have left religion have adopted some form of another religion or another system and such. And so all these systems is spread it out as a thought system based upon the 7 chakra system. The 7 chakra system is not a system at all. It's an illusion to get you to stay in ignorance. To know, and I apologize for those who don't understand the fullness of chakras and only have a half understanding of chakras. Well, I searched this out thoroughly, and myself used the techniques. And so these things did not bring the value as just truth alone. And truth alone having the knowledge. And that knowledge of truth is not a system or a chakra system. So these names for chakras are all just illusions. Now you can use these words to track them down. And then as you see that English reference, then understand their existence, but they also non-exist. As they say, this is a whole chakra system as a spiritual system. You can't see anything spiritual, so how did you map this out? And once again, it's to fill the mind with illusions. The illusions of knowledge. And so the main one is this chakras, is the chakras. Now it's a lot that could be said, but we're gonna leave the illusion out. coming from older traditions. In these newer traditions, they are taking and replastering older traditions in wrong ways. These are wrong understandings, which will lead to wrong speech, which will lead to wrong action. So me, myself, had to clean and cleanse all this misconception, and all this had to be done through unlearning. And when you unlearn the illusion, you will learn the truth. It just go that way. The illusion is a system that keep repeating and keep looping itself. But we don't understand that because of the gaps in between. And so the gaps in between are not the same as all space. So those are just gaps between ideas, thoughts, feelings, and the whole entree of consciousness. The whole conscious system could be referred to as the chakra. But we're going to get to that. But first we want to get to what you know, and that's chakra. So is the 7 chakra system real? The answer, no. The 7 chakra system is an illusion. An illusion can never be true. So when you have learned about the chakra and the chakra system, then you have learned the system of illusion. Now that can work for you in 2 ways, for the good or for the worse. Now illusion being illusion means it's make-believe. So all the teachings that talks about chakra related issues are teachings of make-believe. Has no one seen a chakra? But truth exists. So if the chakras exist as the truth exists, then we should be able to see the chakras. So the only thing we could say to define the chakra is that it's the human vessel. The human vessel is the system, is the chakra system. So the picture they're showing you is not internally, this is externally. This has nothing to do with liberation.
Can I take it?
Okay, the modification comes and goes. And so we have to understand the truth of perception in order to attain knowledge of truth. Any knowledge that's not knowledge of truth is lesser knowledge, and lesser knowledge is birth and passes away. So the chakra system is the same. Now, we're going to We did that. Let's see. Maybe in the let's look up this word. Let's see what's coming up. See exactly what's coming up. See the illusion. See yoga. Let's look it up. This comes from Hindu again. See, all the texts from Hinduism are illusions. They recorded and wrote it now. You can read them. But to not give honor and reverence to where you get your understanding and your truth from is to make it not exist. So when you don't give reference to the truth, as Hindu doesn't, they just describe the truth in stories and spiritual practices in daily life, which is nothing wrong with that. But when we're talking about the knowledge of truth is to be known. So these ways they talking about chakra and doing yoga, these are doings. We talking about knowings. So yoga has been watered down, and it has a definitive of 1820. So it's defined in 1820 from Hindi, yoga from Sanskrit, yoga. Literally union, yoking. And they'll say with the supreme that you see in parentheses, and we know that doesn't even exist. This is what yoga is. When people say yoga, this is what people in the West think. This is absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. And so now when we just go back, because I don't want to see just people just doing wrongness, doing the yoga wrong. I'm talking about that's wrong understanding of yoga. Yoga is to yoke and join. So the poses automatically not yoga, because it's supposed to be dealing with the chakras and it's supposed to be dealing with a spiritual union. So you wouldn't even need a physical body in a sense for dealing with yoga. But in the sense of Hinduism, what they're selling you, this is why I'm understanding now, this is all commercialism. And that it's only one truth and it's non-commerciable. So everything that's commercialized is therefore an illusion, because you can actually sell it. So when we're talking about yoga, we are talking about specifically you yoking yourself with the illusion. The yoga in this sense of what we've been shared as yoga is yoking with your illusion. So yoga is how one uses an illusion and one attaches to it. So yoga is another word for attachment. So when you attach to doing yoga, now you attach yourself to worldly illusions. And to attach yourself to worldly illusions is called yoga. And the use of yoga, we could call the internal part of yoga chakras. And these chakras is a system. You got one chakra, but there's many chakras within the one chakra. So you hear the word chakras. But as you see, it says a chakra system. So the system is the plurality of chakras. It's the functionality of one thing. So this one thing is what is called a chakra. This chakra is the one illusion that's creating all suffering. Through the spinning of this, what they call wheel, or chakra, which is the wheel of illusion, this is where all suffering begins to be birthed and it begins to pass away. So when we understand these from a knowing and not a feeling attached to a feeling, but a knowing attached to a knowing, this is where we unlock ourselves from the mysteries and the spookism for many spiritual systems that are not based upon solely the knowledge of truth. They just want to alter it they just want to keep altering it. Alter. Instead of give you as is. When you go to a dealership and you buy a car as is, that's as is. So the truth is that as is. You can't modify it. You can't alter it. You can not like it, but it don't change it. You can like it and it still don't change it. The truth is as is. So understanding that, this is why they have conflicting systems that you will never draw a full understanding from, because it's an illusion. The chakras are not real. The chakras come from the chakra. If you understand the chakra is the illusion that they call the mind. And so the mind is, in the sense of now, I'm talking about in Western view of what they created called the mind. They have created a whole new construct of mind from Eastern living, from Eastern right wisdom. So understanding that, you have to not include the wrong as right. And you can't include the wrong with right. Right is right. Truth is truth. Wrong is wrong. So now, if to get you lost into the chakra, they need you to do yoga. Yoga is to yoke yourself to any idea of fiction. And once you yoke yourself to any idea of fiction, the wheel starts spinning. And that's what you know is feeling. That what you know is feeling is not self. That is an illusion spinning within. That illusion you see and feel spinning within is the wheel from the yoga happening, from you yoking and creating the system, this function. So the system corresponds with whatever is functioning. From the external, it functions to the internal. Whatever's functioning on the internal is functioning on the external. So it's a yoke. You can't have one without the other. Without this, you can't have that. Where there's this, there's that. So we have to understand this is what they have classified in a way of saying ancient texts. Hinduism is not ancient texts. As you've seen definitively 1828 and 1888. So now we're going to get to another look into this understanding, the Anthkarana. Now this is how it look as a symbol. Well, I want to point maybe this one out because it's more of a map. You see the other one right there is more of a cube. This is the geometry of it. This is the knowledge of it. So when we talk about that's the knowledge, that's the math. So now what we want to do, yeah, so that's the most well-known, look like. So we use this. So this is what's spinning inside of you, known as the activities. Now these what creates the activities of the soul, making the soul feel like these moving activities are real. But it's only the direction of elements in rotation, creating the spin or the wheel. So as you see the arrows under the name, this is adhesive to, is directing, creating a rotation, a spinning, a vortex, like flushing a commode. So now when we understand that, all that science is false and wrong understanding. And so we're going to go to a little Wikipedia of those words. And so now we're going to just go to, now this word, I bet, is not even look upable in here. Let's see. See, it's not even look upable in here. So this is why they wanted to hide this word. And if anyone knew this word, they need to understand that this word is the illusion. This word is the illusion. Now, if you can dispel, this is the one, we're going to read before I do my little interpretation of the truth. Because we ain't finna get the truth just by reading it. Now, here we go. This is in definitive form, Anthkarana. The Anthkarana is a concept in Hindu philosophy referring to the totality of the mind. That's what I want to get to. This word right here refers to the total collection of the whole illusion. The whole illusion, which in ancient tongues was called Maya. This is what they call corona or corona. This is why you have the corona and the so forth, so forth. With that being said, your brain should link and connect with the knowledge of what you experience. See, this is what they want to use to control your mind, and if they can put fear inside of this space, then they can create a rotation provided by thinking that includes all of the illusions, but you misidentify it through the concepts, and then you think it is self and you identify it as self, then you lose yourself within the illusion. So we have to understand the sense of I-ness and the discriminating faculty. The when you hear me say Anthkarana, the anta means inner and the karana means mind, the inner function. So when we're talking about mind and the mind virus, this is the mind virus. This is why all English, when they want to get their spirituality, they don't go to Latin. They go to Sanskrit. And when they go to Sanskrit, it leads you to Hinduism. When you go to Hinduism, you find this whole philosophy that you feel was hidden. But this was premeditated and created and designed to keep you in Pandora's box. Or the 7 days, D-A-Z-E, the 7 days, have you in a daze. And so the daze is why it has to be broken. Hence, if you've been studying with me or alone on the channel, the circle 7. That's why the circle is not a circle as a bound, but it's quadratic. It has the symbol and the perception of the circle, but in actuality, it's not a circle. It's a quadratic circle representing what we're talking about. See, the circle represents trap and embodiment. The circle means spirit, the embodiment of truth. So now when we're talking about going inside this circle is labeled we go from the top to the I was thinking, but it don't matter. It's all illusion. So we just go from top, right, bottom to left. So now, it also refers to the four functions of the mind. So this is where you get everything from everything. This movement and this labeling of this movement is what's causing the confusion. All of this labeling within an illusion is still an illusion. So we have to erase and remove ourselves from false classification of concepts. And now we have to understand as is. So Buddha, the booty, excuse me, because I do not want to say that word, the Buddha. See, this is something totally different than the Buddha. Hinduism is stolen Buddha teachings. So the Buddha teachings don't include any of this, what we call the Anthkarana. So me being involved in the studies of that Farther East teaching, none of those are included. And actually, the exact opposite is included. The Four Noble Truths are included in the Brahmayana. But in the Hinduism, you got the Anthkarana or the chakras. You may be more familiar with the chakras. It's still the same thing. Anthkarana is just a chakra, while the functions of the chakra is the chakras. So the Hindu, to do what Romans did to Jesus, to desecrate their meaning and words and understanding. So they wanted to do that. Hindus wanted to do that to Buddha. So how they did it? Buddha. And they called the Buddha the intellect. And where Buddha was against the intellect. He was neither for or against the intellect. He brought the truth for the intellect and the mind, or whatever you want to call it. And the word chitta, these words, chitta means memory or consciousness. So the word you use, consciousness, in Hindu is chitta. And Buddha is called Shitta, because it's the shit that go down the drain. But we in higher study, so please take that with the higher study. So we talking about these two that we done referred to, the Buddha and the Chitta. Now the Ahamkara. Now the Ahamkara, this is the ego. This is the I maker. When you say that's the Ahamkara. The kara is rolling, and the kara is rolling when you say and it creates the I maker. Then I begin to speak out illusions. So now when we're talking about the manners is the lower mind. So all of this is the lower self. What Noble Drew Ali referred to as the lower self. In Eastern and farther east in Brahmayanas is called Maya. So when we understand Maya, we understand that all of this is an illusion. And if you go into these separate teachers, it would take a long time to get to these final understandings without getting entangled into the illusion and keeping yourself in some reputable finding that you feel gives you glory or maybe fame or whatnot. I don't know. People do weird things for a piece of change now. But this ain't got nothing to do with money. when we're talking about the knowledge of truth. Now, you can support the knowledge of truth, but it ain't about money. So when we're talking about these are the 4 elements that make up the one Anthkarana. So this is where you get chakras from, Chakara. So the chakra is the word Anthkarana. So now we're going to bring in the word Anthkarana, meaning has also been called the link between the middle and the higher mind, the reincarnating part of the mind. So this is how everything is rebirth. So rebirth is an illusion. Anything that changes in size, shape, especially a human form from a child to a grown, is an illusion. That's not the real form. So anything that you see is an Anthkarana. So these things we have to know and to understand how to purify ourselves, how to clean ourselves, and how to free and liberate ourselves to be fully redeemed. So all this is given into the Circle 7. And then the Circle 7 tells you to find this hidden teaching. And then that is the All Sufayan. And so we'll do one more. Till we out of here. Now I want you to know that meditation is linked into this Hinduism. And so some misinterpretations of meditation have been misconceived. So we got to understand meditation from the falsehood so we can discern it from the truth. So before we get to the word form, we're going to get into all this is let's find the symbol. So this is the symbol you see. It comes like you're doing yoga, right? If you seen somebody doing that, you would say they're doing yoga, right? Or meditating. Oh, right. See, it's right there in the middle, right there. Yoga, meditation. And so these are illusions, tricking and convincing the soul that it's liberating itself by finding truth. So as you see, this is well designed already. Now, we're going to show you that picture. That's the symbol. And then we're going to go to the definitive. The definitive is classified at 1200 as meditation. Meditation was defined as contemplation, devout preoccupation, private devotions, prayer. Devotions, contemplation. From Old French. In French, meditation meaning thought, reflection, study, a thinking over, to meditate, think over, reflect, consider. So going back to here, you don't need to do that to think and to contemplate. You can do that while walking, sitting, lying. I'm talking about laying down, running, walking, jogging, driving, working. You can do all that there. So once again, our concepts are under false understandings, therefore not liberating the soul and therefore not saving you and all the people. So to understand, we have to understand the true origin of everything. This is why I'm taking my time to show you that what is not and what is true. So as we see, already predates all sources that we were just looking at. So all these things been existing before we come to them on the West. Now, if the Hindu was 1888, how do we have them existing in the 7th century? And so they wasn't using the word chakra in the 7th century. They started using that in the 19th century. Well, it must be illusion. The truth ain't new, y'all. That's why it was said nothing new under the sun. So when we talking about this mentions the Hindu. And when it comes to the soul, see, this is what we have to understand. The Hindu of the soul, the maniacs from Persia, and the Hindu say. So these people were collectively in one system of belief and ideology to spread and control the masses. These are all the people you see at stores and in your neighborhood where you go to corner stores. These are these people. And so now we're talking about of the soul, the maniacs, the Romans from Persia, and the Hindu say, only some men and women are born possessing a divine immortal soul they call a human. So only these people didn't see as every and all having a divine immortal soul. Only some men and women, and you will come to find out what they calling gurus and priests and governors and rulers. All these people are part of one big system spreading this chakra system of illusion. So it's this it's this magical chakra thinking. It's this chakra magic that they want you to believe in and accept is real through population, basically. Making a lot of people seem attracted to this person, making it therefore seem as true. So all these gurus and people got followers and tons of monuments or buildings or what if you what not. And all this got to do with thinking. And yoga is thinking. Meditation is thinking. Moving your chakras is thinking. The Anthkarana is the mind, which is thinking. And these things is not the spirit. So therefore, they are illusions. And therefore, not even meditation is needed. What is needed is knowledge. And so this is why they never tell you about Allah, the Buddha. Let's get it in. The teachers of Buddha ain't the teachers of Buddha all knowledge. So this is where we understand why you have not heard of Allah Buddha. Because it goes against the illusion. And to keep you in illusion, they need you away from all knowledge. They need you to think that you got to keep learning and learning, and there's a never ending to this learning. See, there's an ending to learning, but there's no ending to knowledge. Knowledge is truth. We have to understand this word alim. Alima. This is a so divine word to represent certainty, all knowing, as you said, all knowing, scient. In the 23rd, we talking about Michael Jordan, the greatest. Number 23, the best to ever do it. We talking about this is why it represents something here. We got to look deeper behind everything. Once we know the origin of everything, as I'm bringing forth to us, through us, because I am we. And I am we, and we are all. So this is what we have to understand. All of us are equal by way of the knowledge of the divine creator. So Hindu has been a understanding that has plagued spirituality, just as like Romanism has plagued the physical. So as we see Persian, Roman, Hindu, or let's say it in updated terms, Jews, Roman or Jews, Christians, and Hindus. These are the people that's always taking your money. At the store, at a corporation, at an institution. Always asking and always digging their hand in your pockets. For this truth, I'm not digging my hand in your pocket. Now, if you love the truth, you can help and support the message of truth through your purity. And if it's in your heart to give, then that's the pure thing. But understanding anything else, we on a mission. And that's to save all people. So we're going to have to leave with that. Because this is the illusion of Hinduism. What they call an ancient Eastern spirituality. Once again, proven and debunked. Decoded and deciphered. No needed for any more illusion. Self-restraint is the answer for all illusion. Salam, 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 wadu, kabaka.